it's Dave for the Redneck Garage. Well, we got a lot of exciting stuff going on here with the Jeep. Exterior components, fender flares, all kinds of cool stuff. However, mechanical stuff still hasn't been finished. So today I'm going to work on getting the steering column connected back up, the new bearing installed, welded up, all that garbage. So let's take a look. Well, as you know, the steering's not hooked up, and I probably toasted my clock spring for the airbag. I got a new one of those. But I've been trying to figure out, got this soaking in some evapor rust to get the bracket cleaned up, and it's looking pretty good. I've got one little spot right here that's got a stress crack that I'm going to clean up so I can reuse this bracket. However, the problem is this bearing, and you can see that it's all rusted up. I'll give you a closer look. It's all rusted up and all jankified, all bent up, and this is what your steering sits in, and I was a little leery of putting this back on the truck just because of how bad it looks. And for the fact I didn't want to be driving down the road and the steering get all floppy on me. So I thought you can buy a bearing. Well, actually you can't. The only way you can get that is to buy an intermediate shaft here, and these are almost $185, almost 200 bucks for this. And I got one. It's made by Crown, but I wasn't happy having to buy it because I really just needed this part, because this part doesn't really wear out. It's the bearing part, but I had to buy the whole thing to get the bearing. So anyway, this is going to be going on tomorrow. Awesome. So here's the old steering shaft, and I got it just pulled up. And there's some pretty good gouges in this plastic, so I guess it would have been rubbing pretty good. The shaft itself is in, you know, no problem with that. There's a bolt underneath it I'm going to try to loosen up and see if I can get this old shaft off. Right here's the bolt that I got to get off. So I'll see if I can get a socket on there and get it to loosen up. Alright, that was fun. I got the old raggedy steering shaft off, and here's the new one. And they do indeed look the same. This one's tighter, but you know, I can't see that it makes that much difference. I can't see that it makes that much difference. I don't think there's that much play in this one. But this one does have the new bearing on it, which is really all we care about. Well, I got the new one on, and it went on like greased butter. There's only one way that it'll go on because of the splines and everything. And so now I got to drop it down and get this lined up and weld on my bracket once I get everything in place. Looking good though. There's actually two pieces of gun. This is the part that holds the bearing, and then there's a bracket that's welded onto the frame itself, and that's this. So once we get the holder on, we can kind of eyeball where this goes, and we can weld it in. Alright, I got the bearing all mocked up on the bracket, and it looks good. Ready to weld. Now all I got to do is slide it back over the shaft. We'll see where it ends up, and should be able to just weld it in place, hopefully. Fingers crossed, maybe, who knows. Starting to work up a sweat out here. I'm not liking it. Alright, so that's right about where the bracket needs to be welded. Everything looks nice. Here and on the other side, I can get my welder out and tack it on this side and then crawl up underneath and do the other. But man, it's a lot of work, but it looks really good. So whenever you're welding, you got to make sure that you don't have any paint or garbage or oil or anything else on there. So now I get to grind off the frame where I'm going to weld so we get a good adhesion. Alright, that bracket's not going anywhere. It looks great. Now I just got to get the top one bolted down and in there, and we're good to go on the steering shaft. Hey! Look at that, we got steering again. Well, that's one more thing out of the way, and I was super happy with that. I'm moving along, getting the exterior parts put back on this stinking Jeep, but the steering works. So, hey, tickled. The only thing left major as far as mechanical goes, we got to put on our clutch slave master cylinder assembly, and it should really be ready with some tightening up of the bolts in the front to drive around the block. Randy said he's got some lawn chairs, so we may use those to take it on a test run. I'm sitting out here drinking my grapefruit shandy and just going to enjoy the rest of the evening and do a little picking up. I'm David from the Redneck Garage. Keep turning wrenches.